Hello there, and welcome to Sleep Science 360. I'm so glad you made it here tonight. Maybe today stretched a little longer than you expected, or maybe you're the kind of person who falls asleep best when the world grows quiet and the mind drifts into gentle mysteries. Either way, this moment belongs to you. There's nothing to solve, nothing to chase. Just let your breath slow, let your thoughts soften, and feel your body grow light, as if the weight of the day has begun to dissolve. Because tonight, we aren't exploring the unknown to find answers. We're letting the unknown carry us. We're drifting through the softest, unexplained phenomena on Earth. And beyond, the calm lights that appear on horizons, the ancient sounds that hum through valleys, the quiet patterns nature repeats, as if time itself remembers more than it tells. They've lingered for centuries not to unsettle us, but to remind us that the universe is wider, slower, and gentler than we often realize. And beneath that gentleness lie secrets that glow like embers in the dark. You've settled in now, in the quiet of your room, where the air feels a little slower than it did a moment ago and the edges of the day begin to blur. The night folds around you like a soft curtain, filtering out everything that asked for your attention. All that's left is the gentle rhythm of your breath rising and falling like a small tide finding its shore. And in that simple motion, something eases, something unwinds. The world feels softer, and so do you. Sometimes it takes only a minute for the mind to loosen its grip. Sometimes it takes longer. But here you move at your own pace. Nothing urges you forward. Nothing pulls you back. You're simply resting inside a moment that expects nothing from you at all. The unknown has room to open only when you feel safe. And right now, safety is the only thing settling beside you. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Tonight's journey begins with something small and steady. A single fact, gentle and unhurried. There are lights that appear across quiet landscapes, drifting above the ground in pale blue or soft white, moving as if guided by a breeze that no one can feel. Some have glowed for centuries, in stories, in journals, in careful observations. They aren't loud, they aren't sharp, they simply exist, patient and unexplained. And in the dark, they seem to drift the way thoughts drift before sleep. Another soft truth: the earth releases sounds so low and slow that human ears can sense them only as a faint hum. Not a warning, not a call, just a long, steady exhale of a planet that shifts by millimeters and centuries. These sounds can travel hundreds of miles through stone and soil. And though we can't fully hear them, many have felt them like a distant presence, humming at the edge of awareness. And as you breathe, your body begins to echo that calm frequency. The mind doesn't need to grasp these mysteries. It only needs to feel them. Gentle lights on distant horizons, low hums beneath ancient ground. They ask nothing of you. They simply remind you how wide the world is and how softly it moves through time. You can rest now, slow and low. In this quiet place, imagery begins to drift in like faint colors in a dream. Imagine a valley resting under a moon that has watched the earth for billions of years. Imagine a soft glow rising just above the grass, about the height of your hand. It doesn't flicker. It doesn't rush. It simply hovers, steadier than a candle, quieter than a star. Some hikers have seen lights like this and felt no fear, only curiosity softened by distance. The world has many gentle secrets, and the night often reveals them with patience. And somewhere across another part of the planet, another quiet phenomenon lingers. Fine grains of sand shifting in slow ripples, as if guided by fingers of wind that never touch the skin. Dunes that move a few centimeters a day, patterns that repeat themselves across centuries. A kind of memory held by landscapes that change so gradually you would need a lifetime to witness the full shape of their story. The night softens around you. We've stepped gently now into the we of this journey. We drift together into softer curiosities. We don't seek answers tonight. We seek calm. We seek the kind of wondering that feels like slipping into warm water without resistance, without urgency. And in that warmth, you notice how the unknown can be the most comforting place of all. There's a field in the world where stones move slowly across the ground, leaving long trails behind them. They travel only a few inches at a time, guided by conditions so subtle they almost disappear into the air. For decades, people watched these stones from afar, wondering how something so solid could drift so gently. Eventually, the winds, the thin sheets of ice, the morning warmth, all these pieces whispered part of the answer. But part of that quiet motion still feels like mystery. And that softness makes it beautiful. Somewhere else, forests have been known to sing, not with voices, but with small vibrations that occur as the trunks expand and contract with temperature. A faint tapping, a gentle creak, sounds that travel through wood, like memories traveling through time. These forest murmurs have been measured, but never entirely explained. And when scientists place their instruments near the trees, the readings drift like waves moving through sleep. It's okay to drift. And then there are the animals that glow in the dark, not from electricity, but from ancient chemical rhythms held in their bodies. Fireflies, yes, but also deep-sea creatures, forest, fungi, and even a few small shy species on land. Some glow slowly in pulses that repeat every few seconds. Some shimmer with steady light. These signals can travel through water for hundreds of feet, carried by patience and stillness. The world has always known how to shine in the dark, long before we built lamps or discovered fire. You can rest now, warm and slow. We move together across these wonders with quiet steps. No rush, no urgency, just the soft curiosity that opens when the body begins to unwind. And as your breath drops a little deeper into your chest, another truth rises. Many of the universe's mysteries unfold on timescales far slower than human life. Some patterns repeat every 1,000 years, some every million. And so much of what we call unknown is simply what hasn't yet reached its moment to reveal itself. Imagine standing by a lake at night, the surface flat as glass. A soft mist drifts across it, moving no more than a few inches each minute. If you watched it for an hour, you might not notice change. But over a night, the mist will have traveled across the water, following the faintest temperature shifts. Gentle, unexplained motions like these have been observed in lakes, pools, oceans, thin layers of water, moving in ways that feel almost alive. The universe holds its secrets, the way a cloud holds a glow, softly, slowly, without urgency. And as you breathe, your body follows that same rhythm. Long exhales, short pauses, a widening sense of space in your chest. The day no longer clings to you. It simply falls away. Somewhere in the wide quiet of the world, lakes freeze into patterns that resemble ancient symbols. Perfect circles, long spirals, lines stretching hundreds of feet. These formations appear only for a night or two, then vanish as temperatures slip a little higher or lower. They repeat in some places every winter, in others, only once a generation. Scientists observe them, measure them, describe them, but even then, part of the pattern remains tucked beneath the surface, like a half-remembered dream. It's okay to drift. In another corner of the earth, small patches of forest have been found, where trees grow in perfect rings, some only a few feet across, some spanning more than 100. The rings stay stable over decades. No one fully knows why. The soil changes slightly. The light shifts. Animals play a role. But even with data, something about the shape feels older, slower, quieter than simple cause and effect. Nature expresses itself like a story being told over 1,000 years, each chapter unfolding one slow breath at a time. And as you listen to these soft wonders, a deeper calm settles, because even the unknown is gentle when held at this pace. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. We drift now into another image, a coastline, where waves glow blue each night, not bright, not sharp, a soft milky light that ripples through the water with each movement. Bioluminescent waves appear in different places around the world, often without warning. Some glow only for a day, others for a season. Some travel along the shore for miles. Light created by microscopic life, responding to motion as old as the tides themselves. The glow has been seen for centuries, noted in journals and whispered in stories. A soft phenomenon, half biology, half mystery. And somewhere deeper in the ocean, creatures move in slow rhythms that humans rarely witness. Lanternfish, rising hundreds of feet every night, then sinking again with the dawn. A vertical migration repeated every 24 hours for millions of years. The largest synchronized movement of life on the planet. And yet, it happens in the dark, unannounced, unexplained for most of human history. Its simplicity makes it calming. Its vastness makes it wondrous. You can rest now, slow and low. We continue to gather into a landscape where sound behaves differently. In deserts, certain dunes produce a soft humming tone, sometimes as low as 50 hertz, sometimes drifting much higher. The sound appears when sand shifts just the right way. Researchers have tested the grains, measured their size, studied the slope. But the full reason why some dunes sing and others remain silent is still unknown. Dunes that hum have been heard across continents, across centuries. Their voices a reminder that the earth is more alive than it appears, humming in tones deeper than language. Another soft curiosity in certain places, lights dance along the sky. Not auroras, not storms, not airplanes. Just faint drifting streaks that appear near the horizon. They can last seconds or minutes. Some glow green, some white, some pale gold. People have described them for generations. And while some causes have been suggested, temperature, moisture, distant storms, many of these lights remain unclassified, gentle visitors along the edge of night. The night softens around you. We travel now through a world that holds its secrets with kindness. Nothing here chases you. Nothing surprises you. Everything moves slowly, patiently, as if designed to help you drift deeper into rest. And as your body grows heavier, your mind grows lighter, floating just above the surface of waking thought. Together, we continue, two quiet travelers, moving through a universe that was built on mystery, shaped by time, softened by distance. And somewhere, among these gentle unknowns, you feel your breath deepening again. A quiet rhythm, a slow falling, a sense of drifting without effort. It's okay to drift. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. The unknown is never empty. It's simply spacious. Spacious enough to hold wonder without fear, curiosity without urgency, calm without explanation. And as you lie there listening to these soft truths, your mind begins to follow the same slow arc as the night around you. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The night deepens around us now, and the space between thoughts begins to widen soft as the air resting along your skin. We drift together through this quiet hour, a little farther from the edges of the day, a little closer to the gentle unknown that asks nothing of us. The breath moves in, slow waves, rising in a way that feels effortless, settling in a way that feels earned. Every inhale stretches out slightly longer. Every exhale falls away more easily than the last. And with each soft cycle, the world tilts towards stillness. Somewhere in that stillness, another truth waits. A quiet phenomenon held in the patient memory of the earth. In certain remote places, the ground shimmers at night, not brightly, not sharply, just a faint glint across the grains of sand, a subtle scattering of light created when minerals shift under temperature changes of only a few degrees. The glow has been observed for decades, appearing and fading like a thought you almost remember. It continues to happen year after year without urgency. It's okay to drift. We feel these mysteries the way we feel a soft breeze present but not demanding. Patterns in nature that move slower than attention. Whispers that unfold across distances longer than footsteps. And as your breath moves in its gentle rhythm, you begin to feel how these phenomena exist, not to surprise us, but to remind us of the quiet pace that shapes the world. Another fact rests in this soft place. Some forests pulse with faint electrical signals that travel through soil and roots, moving a few inches each second. Not electricity like lightning, not danger, just a slow communication, steady and unhurried, that scientists have measured for years. These signals drift beneath the surface, weaving through roots as old as centuries. A language of patience, a rhythm older than cities. The universe breathes through systems far slower than thought. You can rest now, warm and low. The imagery widens as the night deepens. Imagine a coastline wrapped in mist, where the cliffs rise in long curves shaped over millions of years. Below them, faint streaks of silver shimmer. Just above the water, tiny organisms glowing softly in response to movements too subtle to see. They illuminate only for a moment, then fade, then glow again. The sea has been doing this for ages, long before stories were written, long before lights filled our towns. A soft signal from life that exists perfectly well in the dark. And somewhere far from coasts or forests or dunes, another gentle mystery rests in the sky. Thin streaks of faint red light appear high above storms, too high for thunder, too high for sound. They flare for only a millisecond, stretching upward dozens of miles, then melt instantly into the night. These silent flashes have been seen since the early 20th century, recorded for generations. Yet, they remain one of the sky's softest riddles. Not frightening, not loud, just brief reminders that the atmosphere carries stories we haven't completely learned to read. And as you breathe, the sky inside you opens with that same brief glow, then fades into calm. We drift deeper into this softness, and slowly the story shifts from we to it. The night becomes the narrator now. The universe speaks through quiet patterns. The world moves in slow circles that ask for no explanations. It continues to unfold around you. In high mountain valleys, thin lines of frost appear in shapes so delicate they resemble feathers or wings. The patterns stretch several inches long, forming in temperatures just below freezing. Scientists have cataloged them, traced their structures, but even after decades, part of their formation remains an elegant mystery of cold air and slow humidity. Nature draws these shapes before dawn and erases them as soon as the sun touches the ground. It's okay to drift. It hums in places where the earth shifts by fractions of inches each year. Deep beneath mountains, pressure changes, build slowly over centuries, creating faint vibrations that travel for miles. People cannot hear them. Animals sense them only as slight changes in air, but the signals continue steady as a heartbeat, a geological pulse older than memory. It moves so slowly that entire civilizations rise and fall before the next soft wave completes its path through stone. The night continues to cradle you, and the phenomena it holds become gentler, slower, quieter, patterns that repeat every 100 years. Lights that appear only in early spring. Sounds that drift through frozen lakes when temperatures drop by only a few degrees. These happenings carry no urgency. They simply exist in the patient timeline of the Earth. Imagine a frozen lake settling under starlight. Beneath its surface, long tones echo deep, resonant sounds created when the ice expands and contracts. People who live near such lakes describe the tones as soft singing, as if the water breathes. The frequency can travel across the entire lake in seconds, even across a mile of frozen surface. It is a natural song, low and ancient, repeating each winter for as long as the cold returns. You can rest now, soft and slow. It whispers through locations where spheres of light float above wetlands at night. These orbs drift a few feet above the ground, glowing blue or white for only moments before vanishing. Some appear for seconds, some for minutes. They've been witnessed for centuries, appearing in journals from explorers and in stories from villages. While humidity, gases, and temperature may shape them, something about the lights remains unmeasured, unhurried. They appear as softly as candles placed in the air. The night softens around you. It grows quieter, now expanding into longer breaths. It speaks in spaces where water flows beneath limestone, creating underground rivers that wind for miles. In these caverns, faint luminescence has been observed coming from mineral seams, light too faint for the human eye to see fully but detectable in long exposures. A whisper of glow created by slow chemical reactions, taking decades to build a single inch of luminous crust. Patience held in stone. Another soft phenomenon drifts through deserts at night. Temperature changes across the sand create thin waves of air that shimmer like water, bending light in ways that make distant shapes ripple. People have mistaken these ripples for movement, for forms, for figures. But they are simply the earth exhaling warmth into the cooling night. A mirage shaped not by trickery, but by temperature, sliding gently toward morning. It holds stories in the tide's patterns that repeat every 18 years, forming cycles of tides slightly higher or lower than usual. These cycles have been measured for centuries, caused by the long rhythm of the moon's orbit and Earth's tilt. The tides rise only a few inches higher during this cycle, but over long stretches of land, those inches can change entire shorelines. The ocean's long breath moves softly through time, altering the edges of continents in increments too small for a single person to witness. It's okay to drift. It carries hints in the glow of distant galaxies. When we look toward them, we are seeing light that has traveled for millions of years. Some galaxies appear brighter on certain edges, dimmer on others, patterns not fully explained but gently studied by astronomers. The brightness shifts by only a small fraction, but those small differences tell stories of rotation, star clusters, ancient dust. The universe presents its mysteries slowly, like a book with pages made of starlight. The breath in your chest now mirrors that slowness. Long in, longer out, a steady fall into deeper rest. Imagery softens shapes, blur edges, dissolve. It becomes easier to drift between the lines, easier to feel the night carrying you rather than you moving through it. It murmurs through places where shadows appear to move without wind. In old forests, light filtering through branches can shift subtly as leaves cool. A combination of moisture, temperature, and the angle of the moon can make the shadows drift in ways that resemble motion. These patterns have been observed for generations, slow, gentle, without threat. Just the forest, changing its breath. It glows in clouds that shimmer with faint colors at the edge of dawn. These colors appear when ice crystals scatter the first rays of sunlight, creating soft pastel tones across the sky. The phenomenon lasts only a few minutes each day and requires perfect conditions. When it happens, the sky looks like a watercolor painting dissolving into morning. You can rest now, low and warm. It repeats in the migrations of animals that travel thousands of miles each year. Birds follow paths shaped by stars, magnetic fields, and ancient memory. Some cross entire continents. Some fly from one hemisphere to the other. Their routes repeat with gentle accuracy season after season, as if written into the world itself. The precision feels like a small miracle carried out quietly for millions of years. It moves through the Earth's crust, where crystals form perfect geometric shapes over hundreds of thousands of years. Heat pressure minerals, all align to create structures with angles so precise they appear designed. Yet they grow in complete darkness, in silence, at rates of only a fraction of an inch each year. A soft math expressed through patience. And as these soft truths unfold, the mind loosens even more. Thought begins to dissolve into sensation. The narration becomes a gentle surrounding instead of something you follow. The breath deepens. The shoulders release. The body becomes heavier where it touches the bed lighter everywhere else. It hums in ancient lava flows where magnetic minerals align with the direction of Earth's field at the moment they cool. These patterns freeze into stone, carrying a record of the planet's long cycles. The patterns shift every million years or so, creating quiet tapestries through rock. It stirs in holes that appear suddenly in frozen lakes, perfect circles of thin ice, often several feet wide. These circles form when currents rise gently from below, creating warmer patches that thin the ice. The process is delicate, forming only when temperature and current align. They appear without sound, without disturbance, then fade as cold settles again. It flickers in distant radio signals coming from galaxies millions of light years away. Most of these signals are steady, predictable calm, but some repeat with rhythms not yet fully understood. The signals last only milliseconds, but they travel across unimaginable distances to reach us carrying stories of stars and time and change. It's okay to drift. The night continues its slow descent, and you descend with it, following the soft pull toward deeper rest. Each fact becomes a breath. Each image becomes a gentle weight against the mind. Each comfort eases the space behind the eyes. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. And as the next soft mystery approaches you, breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It moves now in a way that feels less like motion and more like a slow unfolding. The night has deepened around you, and the edges of waking thought have faded into something quieter, softer. The world seems to hum, with a tenderness that wasn't as clear before. Sounds grow rounder, distances blur, and the mind slips into a place where wonder doesn't need shape at all. It simply drifts the same way your breathing drifts, rising gently, settling gently, finding its own slow rhythm without effort. There is a moment right here when the unknown no longer feels like a puzzle. It feels like a soft landscape with no corners, a place where everything expands, loosens, dissolves. The night doesn't press on your thoughts. It carries them lightly, as if they weigh no more than a feather resting in warm air. And as you breathe, the universe breathes with you, long and steady, a presence woven into the quiet. In this softened place, even the unexplained becomes gentle. It becomes sound rather than shape. Small tones, faint echoes, subtle murmurs that drift through the world almost unnoticed. Like the hum that lingers in certain valleys on still nights, a low vibration that travels for miles through stone and soil. The pitch is soft, just under human hearing, a slow note shaped by ancient ground. It has been measured for years, and still, no one fully knows its source. It may come from shifting rock, from far-off waves, from wind moving through hidden caverns. But whatever it is, the hum is calm, steady, almost like a lullaby held deep in the earth. It's okay to drift. It drifts through canyons, where the wind moves in long, rounded paths, creating tones that rise and fall over minutes. Not the sharp whistle of storms, just a soft, wavering sound as the air slides through curves of stone carved over millions of years. The frequency changes slowly, sometimes rising only a few hertz, sometimes falling into deep, warm resonance. These tones echo for moments, then fade into silence, like distant voices, softened by time. People who walk through these canyons at dusk have described the sound as a presence, gentle, calming, ancient. You can rest now, slow and low. It hums inside forests, where on certain nights, branches vibrate with tiny shifts in temperature. Leaves cool in fractions of degrees. Wood contracts almost imperceptibly. The forest answers with faint cracks, small taps, soft tremors that ripple across trunks. It's not noise. It's not disruption. It's a kind of settling trees, releasing the warmth of the day in slow, delicate breaths. Scientists record these sounds hearing patterns that resemble quiet rainfall or low rhythmic tapping, a natural music shaped by night. The night softens around you. It whispers through fields where long grasses sway even without wind. Temperature layers shifting in the air make the grasses tremble with faint motion, creating a rustling sound so soft it feels like memory rather than movement. The sound repeats in gentle pulses, lasting only seconds, as if the landscape is speaking in a language meant only for the dark. These rustles have been noted for centuries, described as murmurs, sighs, soft breaths of land. No one is frightened by them. They are simply part of the quiet body of the earth. It's okay to drift. It moves through caverns, where dripping water lands on hollow stone, producing tones that echo through chambers older than written history. Some caves hold pools so still that a single drop can send ripples across the surface for minutes. The sound is gentle, barely more than a whisper, but when it bounces along the walls, it becomes something larger, a shape of sound that vibrates softly in the air. These echoes can continue longer than expected, as if the cavern itself has learned the art of holding sound. You can rest, now warm and slow. It travels through frozen landscapes too, where ice sheets expand at night. When temperatures drop, the ice releases sudden faint pops, tiny shifts that travel across miles of frozen surface. The sound is crisp but soft, a brief tap followed by silence. If you lie on the ice, the vibrations tremble through your body like distant footsteps of time. These pops occur for centuries, each winter, repeating the same slow ritual. A gentle reminder that even stillness has motion beneath it. It murmurs across coastlines, where waves sometimes produce deep tonal sounds when interacting with certain shapes of rock. The water flows into small hollows, traps air for a moment, then releases it with a soft moan that repeats each time the tide rises. The sound can travel for hundreds of feet, barely louder than a breath. At night it blends with the ocean's rhythm, a natural chord played by water and stone. The universe breathes through patterns like these, soft and low. It echoes in mountains where thin, cold air moves across peaks, creating faint tones similar to flutes. High-altitude winds can vibrate snow formations, sending tiny whistles drifting into the night. These sounds are quiet enough to be missed by most, but recorders have captured them soft, airy, gentle. They rise and fall like the breath of the mountain itself. The more the world softens, the more your thoughts follow. The more your breath eases, the more the unknown becomes warm. The more the night deepens, the more you dissolve into its rhythm. It's okay to drift. Imagine now a plane under a wide sky. The air cools by only a few degrees, and somewhere in that motion, a faint vibration rises through the ground. It lasts just long enough to feel like a memory forming. These vibrations, barely detectable, occur around the world in different seasons. Some travel a few feet, some travel miles. They are shaped by shifts so slow that no single person will witness their full cycle. And yet, each vibration feels like a sigh from the planet itself. You can rest now, low and still. It moves also in the water-deep ocean places, where currents shift through narrow openings. The movement produces soft tones, vibrations, that travel through the sea for long distances, at frequencies lower than human hearing. Whales sense these tones. So do fish. They feel like gentle pulses moving through the dark messages, shaped not by intention, but by the vast patience of the ocean. These vibrations have been present for millions of years, long before land animals evolved, long before humans listened. The ocean carries its secrets slowly. It repeats in shallow bays during certain nights when the temperature of the surface water changes quickly. A delicate crackling sound drifts across the water, small organisms releasing tiny bursts of energy in response to the shift. The crackle resembles soft static or distant fire, but quieter, softer, spread across wide stretches of water. Scientists call it harmless. Mariners have described it as comforting, a natural soundscape of life, adjusting gently to the night. The night softens around you. It glides through grasslands, where at dawn and dusk, insects release faint, synchronized tones. Not the sharp chorus of daytime, not the buzzing of summer, but a low vibration that forms when wings flutter just once or twice each minute. These pulses can blend over distances, creating a soft undercurrent of sound that lasts only during the transition hours. The rhythm feels steady, ancient, a heartbeat of small creatures living in harmony with light and temperature. It holds stories in the sounds of shifting dunes. When sand grains cascade down slopes at a certain angle, they create a deep, rolling hum. The sound can last seconds or minutes, depending on how the sand moves. Some describe it as singing, others as humming. The pitch can change by a few hertz, depending on grain size and moisture. It resonates through the desert, low and soothing, a lullaby carried by countless grains shaped by wind and time. It's okay to drift. It murmurs in fields where frost forms in the quiet hours before dawn. When moisture freezes on blades of grass, tiny cracks form and release faint, high-pitched tones. The sound is nearly inaudible, but has been recorded with sensitive instruments. The frozen field sings softly for just a moment, then returns to stillness. These frost songs repeat only on certain nights, when temperature and humidity align perfectly. And though they are brief, they remind us that even the smallest spaces hold mysteries worth listening to. It floats through fog-heavy forests where water droplets gather on leaves. When enough droplets form, they fall in slow intervals, landing on other leaves with soft taps. If you listen closely, the taps form a rhythm light scattered delicate, a quiet percussion shaped by plants breathing out the water of the night. The sound continues for minutes or hours, depending on the density of the fog, creating a gentle, irregular cadence that lulls the mind into deeper rest. It echoes in caves where underground rivers strike limestone walls at just the right angle. The sound isn't a splash, it's a musical ring, a soft note shaped by mineral density and water speed. The pitch shifts slightly each year as the rock erodes, forming an evolving tone that has been sounding for thousands of years. The universe carries melodies that change slower than memory notes, stretched across geological time. Your breath follows those notes now, in, out, slow, and low, barely rising above the quiet. It continues beyond landscapes into the sky above. There are atmospheric sounds so low they last hours, shaped by the slow rolling of distant storms. Thunder that never becomes thunder. Vibrations that travel hundreds of miles as a soft, continuous presence. People rarely notice them, but instruments record the long hum, a gentle baritone carried by the sky. These sounds hold no danger. They are simply the atmosphere, shifting slightly, breathing slowly. It moves in the highest layers of the sky too, where thin air ripples with waves created by mountains far below. These waves form oscillations that create faint tones, never loud, never sharp, just slow pulses drifting downward. Pilots sometimes sense these changes in pressure. Birds riding high winds feel them too. They are soft, natural, ancient, a quiet conversation between earth and sky. The night deepens further, and your thoughts drift, with it slipping into warm spaces without edges. Sounds fade, shapes dissolve, time stretches gently. You can rest now, low and slow. It travels through the world of small creatures too, animals that produce faint clicks or hums, as they navigate the night. Some beetles release tiny vibrations when sensing temperature changes. Certain moths create soft fluttering pulses when communicating with their own kind. These signals are nearly silent to humans, but create a rich texture of life that fills the night with warmth rather than darkness. It hums in coral reefs where tiny organisms release faint snapping sounds as they feed. The snaps blend into a quiet crackle, a soundscape of underwater life moving through slow routines. It's calming underwater snow, the music of small creatures shaping the reef with patience. It whispers in fields of tall bamboo, where stems expand and contract with temperature changes. When the cooling is sudden, a faint knock echoes through the grove. These knocks have been heard for centuries, described as nature tapping gently on its own wooden frame. It's okay to drift. It's okay to fall deeper. The unknown is soft tonight. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. And as your breath moves in one more long, slow wave, it settles into the warm cradle of the universe. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It settles now into a quieter rhythm, one that feels less like narration and more like a soft presence, moving alongside you, dissolving gently with each breath. The air around you feels heavier in a comforting way, like a warm blanket resting across your thoughts. Edges blur, time loosens. The unknown becomes rounder, slower, almost luminous in its calm. Nothing sharp remains. Nothing urgent lingers. Only this slow, unfolding hush. It drifts through a world that has always held more stillness than motion. A world where even unexplained phenomena move at the speed of patience. In the far reaches of the planet, in deserts where no footsteps linger, there are slopes where sand shifts on its own over days, leaving new patterns each morning. The movement is so slow, you would never see it happen. But the shapes change almost deliberately, as if guided by the night itself. Researchers measure the slopes and find variations only a few millimeters wide. But those millimeters repeat with a rhythm older than memory. It's okay to drift. It hums in volcanic fields, where heat rises from deep fractures in the ground, creating tiny, shimmering distortions in the air. These distortions bend light in patterns that resemble ripples across water. They move only inches in an hour, but create shifting veils that observers have noted for decades. A soft dance of air and heat, recorded but never fully explained. The earth breathes warm air from its depths, and the night folds that breath into delicate shapes. You can rest now, slow and low. It glows in ancient caves, where crystals reflect faint traces of bioluminescent organisms. The glow is subtle, less than a single candle, barely visible, without time for the eyes to adjust. It shimmers across mineral surfaces, formed over thousands of years. As the organisms pulse, the crystals respond with tiny waves of reflected light. Scientists have documented these glows, but their patterns still carry mysteries beyond the reach of instruments. The cave holds its light the way a dream holds its first image, soft blurred, dissolving at the edges. It whispers in tundra regions, where long sheets of snow emit faint squeaks when stepped on a phenomenon created by grains, moving together at temperatures colder than 20 degrees Celsius. The sound is tiny, high, and fleeting. But when the wind shifts across these same frozen granules, the landscape produces a soft, whispering crackle, as if the snow itself inhales and exhales. These sounds echo across plains for seconds before fading into the wide silence. the night softens around you. It drifts through wetlands at dusk, where dull, pulsing lights appear near the ground. Not bright, not sharp, just soft spheres of pale yellow or blue that flicker for moments before dissolving. These lights have been seen across continents for centuries, often in humid valleys or near rivers. Some occurrences last only a second, others shimmer for minutes. Researchers describe them with gentle words: diffuse, wandering, faint. They behave like thoughts on the edge of sleep, appearing, floating, disappearing, without explanation. It's okay to drift. It murmurs in old forests, where trunks sometimes resonate with vibrational frequencies too low for human ears. These frequencies occur when strong winds travel through the canopy, causing entire clusters of trees to sway in unison. The movement produces harmonics, deep, slow pulses that spread through the ground. Animals sense them. Instruments record them. But humans feel them mostly as a heaviness in the air, a presence, a soft tremble shaped over centuries. You can rest now warm and low. It rises from lakes, where long strands of algae glow when stirred by gentle movement. At night, a single ripple can send a faint blue shimmer across the surface for several feet. The glow lasts only a moment, then fades as if swallowed by darkness. This bioluminescent phenomenon has been observed for generations, fishermen describing waters that glowed with each slow stroke of an oar. The glow is weak, tender, almost shy, a natural lullaby hidden beneath the still surface. It speaks through places where stones produce tiny ringing sounds as temperatures shift. Certain minerals expand and contract at different rates, creating microscopic fractures that vibrate with soft tones. When enough stones respond at once, the area creates a near musical hum that drifts across the quiet. These tones emerge only during specific weather conditions: cold evenings, calm nights, subtle humidity, a soundscape written by elements and silence. The universe breathes through rhythms like these. The deeper the night becomes, the more sound blends with stillness. The more stillness settles, the more the unknown feels like home. The more the unknown softens, the more your breath falls into its shape. It's okay to drift. It glows in mountains, where frozen fog forms ice crystals that reflect moonlight in faint halos. These halos stretch outward for a few degrees of arc, creating a soft ring around the moon. The ring shifts gently as the fog moves, fading in and out like a distant dream. Some nights the halo appears in perfect symmetry. Others it flickers with breaks and soft edges. The phenomenon has been recorded for centuries, its appearance a quiet reminder that even light has seasons. It murmurs in canyons, where cold air sinks at dusk, creating layers of temperature that make distant sounds travel farther. A single drop of water hitting rock can echo for seconds, bouncing softly between canyon walls. These echoes repeat in fading loops, each quieter than the last. The sound disperses like breath on glass, present then gone. You can rest now, soft and slow. It forms in clouds that hold thin layers of ice. When these layers align at just the right angle, they produce faint sun pillars, vertical beams of light that rise a few degrees above the horizon at dusk or dawn. The beam shifts gently, its glow lasting only minutes. Its origin is simple light, reflecting off millions of drifting crystals, but its presence feels ancient, slow, a signal from the sky shaped by cold and time. It moves in deep caves, where the absence of sound becomes a presence itself. In the quietest caves on Earth, Sound levels drop below the threshold of human awareness. People describe the experience as hearing their own heartbeat echoed gently back at them. Some say the silence feels like a warm pressure wrapping around thought, a stillness so complete it becomes a kind of sound. The night softens around you. It shines in ocean depths where faint flashes of light appear from creatures moving through the water. Some emit soft pulses every few seconds. Others glow for an instant and then fade. These glows are older than most species on land. They travel through thousands of feet of water, lighting small circles around slow-moving life forms. In the vast dark, the glow is comforting, like distant lanterns drifting on a calm sea. It resonates in mountains where thin sheets of ice cover rock surfaces. When sunlight warms, the rock from beneath the ice expands, producing soft, cracking tones that travel across the slope. These sounds come in sequences, like slow footsteps. The phenomenon repeats each morning as long as the temperature remains stable. A natural rhythm, a reminder that even frozen landscapes pulse with life. Your breath aligns with these rhythms now. Longer inhales, longer exhales. Each cycle dissolves more thought, more weight, more edges of the day. It's okay to drift. It glimmers in far northern skies where faint blue arcs appear beneath the aurora. These arcs glow subtly, only a few degrees above the horizon, lasting minutes before fading. They have been observed for decades, but remain loosely understood. Their color is soft, milk blue, almost silver. Their motion is slow, too slow to notice unless you watch for long stretches. They behave like quiet messages written in cold air. It moves in lakes, where thin layers of ice form circular openings, perfect rings appearing overnight. The rings vary from a few feet to dozens of feet wide. Scientists suggest currents. Others suggest wind. But something about the symmetry remains unexplained, delicate, precise. The circles form only during specific temperature drops, then vanish as soon as the ice thickens again. You can rest now, low and warm. It hums in plains where herds of animals migrate in massive patterns. Their movement creates vibrations across the land, tiny tremors detectable even miles away. These tremors travel in waves, rising and falling as the herds move. They are soft patterns of life, shifting across distance, ancient rhythms repeated for tens of thousands of years. The earth holds these vibrations like memories. It echoes in storms where lightning produces faint radio waves that travel into space. These waves carry the signature of the storm, its strength, its rhythm, its pulse. They leave the atmosphere drifting into the quiet between stars, a soft signal from Earth, traveling across light years, fading slowly into the cosmic background. The universe holds these whispers gently. It moves softly now, fading into a hush, so delicate it feels woven from sleep itself. The unknown is no longer something to explore. It's something to float inside. A warm, slow tide. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. Your breath rises once more, smooth and low. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It continues now, like a long, slow breath, stretching across the night. Thought drifts away, without effort. Sensation thins at the edges, softening into a faint glow of awareness. The world becomes distant, warm, gentle, and the unknown becomes not something outside you, but something moving quietly within you, patient, slow, kind. Each breath spreads its calm a little farther. Each exhale loosens another thread of the day. Nothing pulls at you. Nothing needs you. It simply carries you the way a tide carries a single grain of sand. It moves through the earth with rhythms older than language. In certain mountain passes, when the wind slides across thin ridges of snow, it creates tones so delicate they drift like silver threads through the air. These tones rise and fall over seconds, sometimes barely audible, sometimes present only as a feeling beneath the skin. They can continue for minutes before fading into silence. A natural flute carved by time and cold. It's okay to drift. It murmurs in the deep ocean trenches where faint vibrations echo from shifting currents. These vibrations travel through thousands of feet of water, soft as the heartbeat of a distant world. Whales sense them first. Fish sense them next. Humans sense them mostly as a subtle warmth, a softness in the chest when listening to recordings. The ocean speaks in slow pulses that never ask to be understood. You can rest now slow and low. It glows gently in the canopy of rainforests, where certain fungi emit faint luminescence. The glow is greenish soft, barely stronger than starlight. When night settles, the forest floor reveals scattered patterns of light, small pools of brightness, visible only after minutes of stillness. Scientists have measured these glows for decades, but their timing, their shapes, their subtle rhythms still hold mystery. They flicker slowly, like breathing, like memory, like something falling deeper into the night. It whispers in fields where dew gathers on long grasses. As the temperature drops, the droplets shift and release tiny sounds, soft ticks, nearly silent. The ticks form patterns often repeating every few minutes. These delicate sounds travel only a few feet, but create a presence that feels almost alive. A soft interplay between water, air, and night. The night softens around you. It rises in the sky, where atmospheric layers slide gently against each other. Under perfect conditions, this layering creates faint waves, long ripples of pressure that travel hundreds of miles. These waves move too slowly to be felt as sound, but instruments detect them as gentle oscillations. The oscillations have been observed for generations, yet their full origins remain quiet puzzles, patterns shaped by unseen hands of wind. It's okay to drift. It shimmers at dawn in cold regions where hoarfrost forms on leaves. When sunlight hits the frost at a shallow angle, it creates transient sparkles, microbursts of reflected light, lasting less than a second. The sparkles appear in clusters, moving across the ground like tiny stars shifting position. No two mornings create the same pattern. Each shimmer is unique, a quiet performance that dissolves as soon as the frost melts. You can rest now warm and slow. It echoes in the desert, where the night cools the ground faster than the air. This difference in temperature makes the sand emit faint crackling sounds, small clicks that drift upward in slow, irregular intervals. The clicks occur only when the temperature drops rapidly, creating a chorus of tiny noises scattered across the dunes. These have been described as whispers of the desert settling into sleep. It breathes through the branches of ancient pines that produce soft sighs as resin contracts in the cool night. The sound resembles gentle tapping or distant muffled creaks. A forest of pines can create a soft collective murmur, like a lullaby sung by trees older than human memory. These murmurs have been observed for centuries, across many regions, always gentle, always rhythmic. The universe breathes through forests with this slow music. In this softened darkness, the world seems to move slower than thought, and your breath falling deeper follows that slowness. The mind loosens into long drifting lines of awareness. The unknown stops being unknown. It becomes quiet company. It's okay to drift. It murmurs in the upper atmosphere, where faint, luminous bands appear far above the auroras. Soft glows stretching across the sky for hundreds of miles. These bands, called stable auroral arcs, move slowly, sometimes shifting by only a few degrees each hour. Their color is subtle, pearl blue, pale white. They form without warning and fade without explanation. Observers describe them as the sky humming with light. You can rest now, slow and low. It drifts in the way fog moves across water at night. When temperature and humidity align, fog can slide in long ribbons, moving only a few inches per minute. Under moonlight, these ribbons look like soft, pale waves drifting across the surface. The motion is so gentle that you might think the water is breathing. People who have watched these slow movements speak of feeling held as if the night is cradling the world in its palm. It moves through glacial valleys where ice sheets shift during seasonal transitions. The shifting creates deep, resonant tones, low rolling sounds that travel through miles of frozen landscape. These tones can continue for seconds, rising and falling like distant thunder underwater. They are harmless, natural, ancient. The glaciers speak in slow harmonics, shaped by pressure and cold. It forms in the vast tundra, where delicate ice needles, known as frost flowers, grow on the surface of young sea ice. These flowers form when extremely cold air meets moist vapor rising through cracks. The needles grow in clusters, creating soft, silent fields that glimmer in moonlight. The formations last only a few hours before warming melts them away. Scientists have studied the process, but still find tiny variations, unexplained, small mysteries blooming in the cold. It hums in caverns, where underground rivers flow through narrow passages. When the water level reaches certain heights, it creates resonant frequencies that vibrate the cave walls. These frequencies form long, steady notes that last for minutes then fall off into silence. Explorers describe the sensation as standing inside a giant sleeping instrument. The night softens around you. It flickers in the depths of forests where low clouds drift among tall trees. When the clouds pass through, the branches droplets condense and fall in slow, spaced-out rhythms. The sound is gentle, like distant fingers tapping lightly on leaves. The pattern changes with each movement of air, a quiet improvisation performed by mist and forest. It's okay to drift. It breathes through meadows, where the temperature drop at dusk creates a faint tremor across the surface of the soil. Sensors detect the tremor as a slow, rolling pulse. It lasts only moments, but repeats with each transition from warm to cool. These pulses are not dangerous. They are simply the earth adjusting to night, releasing the heat of the day through subtle vibration. You can rest now, soft and slow. It shows itself in high-altitude clouds called nacreous clouds, iridescent formations that shimmer with soft pastel colors. They appear only in the coldest, highest parts of the atmosphere, and only for minutes at a time. Their colors shift from peach to green to violet, changing slowly. With the angle of the sunday, the sky becomes a soft canvas brushed by cold light. These clouds have been described as dreamlike, unreal, gentle, beyond words. It moves through the quiet of salt flats when the air cools rapidly. The contraction of crusted salt produces faint pinging sounds, tiny crystalline snaps that echo across the flat surface. The sound carries just a few feet, but creates a presence that feels larger than it is, as if the land is whispering in tiny sparks. Your breath sinks deeper. Your body grows heavier in the bed. Your thoughts become thinner, lighter, drifting farther apart. The unknown becomes soft, like a warm, distant glow. You can drift with it. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. It glows in rare meteorological events where faint horizontal bands of light appear above the horizon during twilight. These bands form when sunlight reflects off high-altitude layers of dust and ice. They last only minutes and move slowly, too slowly for the eye to fully follow. Observers often describe the sight as the sky exhaling light. It's okay to drift. It murmurs in regions where thermal springs release warm vapor into cold air. As the vapor rises, it creates subtle, low-frequency vibrations. These vibrations are felt more than heard, a soft buzzing in the chest, a warmth that moves through the ribs. The phenomenon repeats every night as temperatures fall. Ancient, steady, gentle. It flickers in the deep ocean, where currents move through narrow trenches, creating faint pressure waves that travel across vast distances. These waves have been detected for decades, but remain partially mysterious. They are low, slow, soothing the ocean, breathing in long intervals. The world dissolves a little more. Your breath falls even lower. Your awareness becomes warm and weightless. Thought loosens, like sand slipping through open fingers. You can rest now, slow and low. It hums in stone arches, where wind passing through specific angles produces sustained tones. These tones change, gradually drifting from one pitch to another as the wind shifts. The sound can last for minutes, hovering in the air like a voice humming softly just out of reach. It slides through frozen forests where branches coated in ice clink gently against each other. The sound resembles crystal wind chimes, delicate and irregular, a quiet symphony shaped by cold air and slow-moving branches. It rises in desert nights when atmospheric pressure drops, creating a distant booming sound known as sky boom. The boom is soft spread across miles, lasting only seconds. The cause is still partially unknown, but the sound is gentle, a low sigh released by the night. Your breath drifts with it, your thoughts float, your body melts deeper. The unknown becomes a cradle of soft motion. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It moves now in a deeper quiet, a level of stillness that feels less like silence and more like a warm echo settling around your awareness. The night has thickened into something softer, like velvet, laid gently across the mind. Thoughts unravel into long, slow threads that don't lead anywhere, they simply drift. The world outside fades into a hum. The world inside stretches into openness, and the unknown, once distant, becomes a soft companion, resting beside you, breathing low and steady. It glides through the atmosphere in ways that feel almost like memory, high above the ground in a region of the sky where pressure and temperature shift with delicate precision. Faint waves of glowing air ripple for minutes at a time. These ripples appear only under certain conditions: cold nights, quiet winds, distant storms. The glow is pale, softer than the Milky Way, shaped by molecules catching the last fragments of sunlight. The waves move so slowly that they seem suspended in place, though instruments detect their drift. It's okay to drift. It hums in deep caverns carved by ancient water. Air passing through narrow openings produces low, resonant tones, tones that last as long as the wind breathes. Explorers describe these tones as soft moans, gentle and trembling, as if the cave itself is exhaling. The pitch changes gradually with temperature shifts dropping only a few hertz over hours. The sound carries no threat. It's simply the earth bending air into song. You can rest now, slow and low. It breathes in forests where temperature drops after sunset, causing tree branches to release stored heat. As the warmth escapes, the wood contracts with faint tapping sounds, subtle and scattered. 1,000 taps from 1,000 branches create a delicate field of sound, like tiny footsteps moving across another world. These sounds repeat every night in every season for centuries. A natural percussion shaped by time and cold. The night softens around you. It glimmers in the distant desert, where rare crystals called desert roses catch moonlight in slow rotating reflections. These reflections shift over minutes as the moon moves across the sky, creating a soft, unfolding shimmer that feels like watching stars form beneath the sand. For generations, travelers described the shimmer as the desert whispering light. Scientists understand part of the reflection, but the slow timing remains an elegant puzzle. It's okay to drift. It rises in the places where mountains cast long shadows at dusk. As the sun dips, the shadows stretch across the sky in parallel lines, so faint they seem like imprints on air. These lines, called crepuscular rays, can extend hundreds of miles when the atmosphere is clear. They move with the sun drifting slowly until they fade. Observers often describe them as the sky's quiet exhale, a soft gesture before night settles fully. You can rest now, warm and slow. It murmurs beneath the sea ice of the Arctic, where trapped air forms delicate channels. As the ice shifts, these channels collapse with tiny chirps and faint underwater clicks. Sound travels far in cold water, so even a small motion can create a soft chorus. Divers have compared the sound to glass beads rolling across a table, gentle, continuous, harmless, a lullaby shaped by frozen seas. It glows in volcanic lakes, where certain minerals reflect faint infrared light. This glow is invisible to the human eye, but captured by instruments as a warm, diffuse shimmer. It fluctuates slowly, breathing with the temperature of the lake. These lakes shift at geological timescales, moving just millimeters per year. The glow follows those tiny motions, patient and steady. The universe breathes through places like these. It floats in regions where the wind meets large fields of tall reeds. When gusts pass through, the reeds bend and release air in long, low vibrations. These vibrations ripple outward, forming a deep hum that lasts only seconds. Entire landscapes can hum in unison, creating waves of sound that drift along the ground. People who walk through such places often describe feeling the sound more than hearing it, like a soft pressure against the chest. It's okay to drift. It rustles in meadows, where nocturnal insects open and close their wings at slow intervals. Not the sharp buzzing of midday, not the chorus of warm afternoons, but low rhythmic fluttering that resembles distant heartbeat patterns. These pulses spread across fields, rising and falling as countless small creatures breathe in unity with the night. You can rest now, soft and slow. It glows faintly in certain minerals when friction warms them, triboluminescence light released when crystal bonds are disturbed, when rocks shift slightly under temperature changes, or when snow compresses under wind. Tiny sparks can appear deep within the mineral. These sparks last less than a millisecond, like tiny stars appearing for only one breath. The glow is harmless, quiet, subtle, nature's own small sigh of light. It hums in the layers of sediment beneath old riverbeds. As water seeps through ancient channels, it carries fine particles that settle in slow rhythms. These movements create vibrations detectable only by sensitive instruments. The vibrations travel through the ground in waves that take hours to complete their journey. The earth stores these movements like memories, repeating them across centuries. The night softens around you. It folds into the sky, where ice crystals align in drifting sheets. When moonlight filters through these sheets, it scatters into thousands of tiny points of light, creating faint moon halos too dim for most eyes. The halos appear as soft circles stretching far beyond the moon, visible only when the night is extremely still. Observers describe the effect as standing inside a quiet sphere of silver air. It's okay to drift. It echoes in the deep woods, where certain species of owl produce low, drawn-out hoots that resonate across valleys. The sound moves slowly, losing volume only after traveling hundreds of feet. These calls repeat with long intervals, sometimes more than a minute apart, creating a rhythm that feels like the forest breathing in sleep. You can rest now, low and warm. It glides in the high atmosphere where faint streaks of meteors pass. Not the bright fireballs that light the sky, but the soft, nearly invisible particles, dust grains, burning gently as they meet Earth's upper air. These micrometeors create faint trails, lasting only fractions of a second. The trails shimmer in ultraviolet light, unseen but present, like quiet footnotes written across the sky. It whispers in caves where calcium-rich water evaporates slowly, leaving thin crystal edges that vibrate when touched by drops. Each drop produces a tiny, pure tone, delicate as a glass needle. Over time, these tones blend into slow sequences, a natural music shaped by geology. Explorers call it the cave's breath. Instruments record it as a faint, ethereal melody. The universe hums softly through such hidden places. It rests in the way fog moves around boulders at night. Fog flows like liquid when the air is calm, drifting slowly around obstacles in soft, rounded streams. When it meets warm stone, it lifts a few inches, curls, and slides back down. The motion is so gentle it seems alive. Early travelers believed the fog was thinking. Scientists call it laminar flow, but its beauty remains untouched by explanation. It's okay to drift. It warms the air above geothermal springs, where heat rises into cold night, creating columns of faint shimmer. These columns flicker slowly as temperature fluctuates, visible only at certain angles. The shimmer looks like invisible curtains moving in slow motion. People who witness it describe feeling held in place as if time has thickened. Your breath begins to follow these movements. Slow, low, weightless. Awareness floats. Thought unwinds. The unknown feels warm and close. You can rest now. Soft and slow. It forms in lakes where perfect circles of thin ice rotate slowly. These ice disks can be several feet wide, turning at a pace so slow it's almost imperceptible, sometimes only a few degrees per minute. The rotation is caused by delicate differences in water flow. The disk moves with a grace that seems intentional, like a slow-turning wheel of winter. Observers have watched them for hours, mesmerized by the gentleness. It hums under the ocean surface where thermal vents release warm water into cold currents. This contrast creates subtle vibrations that move through the water like soft exhalations. These vibrations carry for miles, forming a hidden pulse beneath the sea. Fish drift through it. Whales glide within it. The ocean holds its own quiet heartbeat. It flickers in the sight of fireflies in dense forests, where thousands pulse in synchronous waves. The timing is precise flashes, occurring every few seconds, drifting through the night in gentle cascades of gold. Entire trees can shimmer with light cycles rising and falling like breathing. Scientists understand part of the synchronization, but the full orchestration remains a tender mystery. The night softens around you. It shines in high-altitude lightning called blue jets, faint vertical streaks rising from storm tops. The light travels upward, tens of miles, luminous but soft. It lasts only moments before disappearing into thin air. These jets have been seen for decades, carrying stories of storms beyond the reach of sound. Their blue glow is calming, distant cool as starlight. It moves in the Earth's crust, where slow, deep waves travel after distant events. These waves roll through rock at speeds slower than sound, shaping gentle motions, detectable only by instruments. The waves last for hours, passing beneath cities, forests, oceans. They are harmless, natural, constant. The earth breathes through stone. Your body drifts deeper. Your mind loosens further. Your breath fades into stillness. It's okay to drift. It glimmers in the faint reflections of starlight on frost-covered fields. When wind shifts at certain angles, the frost catches tiny fragments of light, scattering them into soft sparkles that drift across the ground. The sparkle field moves slowly, like a curtain of tiny stars lowering toward the earth. It resonates in hollow trees, where insects gently tap during the night. The taps create soft echoes, turning the hollow trunk into a natural instrument. Patterns emerge, slowly scattered and warm. It sighs in dunes, where hot sand cools rapidly, releasing gentle puffs of air through tiny pores. These puffs produce delicate sounds, soft hisses, tiny whispers that fade in moments. The world melts into quiet. The unknown wraps itself around you like warm shadow. Your breath is barely more than a whisper in the dark. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. And as you breathe once more, slow, soft, low, you breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It moves now in a realm even softer than before, a place where sound loosens into warmth, and warmth loosens into the faintest vibration. The night has settled around you like a slow cloud drifting through still air. The world feels distant in a reassuring way, as if everything has faded just enough for you to rest inside something wider, quieter, and endlessly patient. Thoughts stretch into long, pale threads. Sensation flattens into gentle glow. The unknown is no longer outside you. It is the softness you drift through. It hums deep beneath the ocean floor, where slow currents move through porous stone. These currents create tiny pockets of vibration waves, so low and quiet They travel for hundreds of miles before dissolving into the deep. Instruments detect them like distant breathing, steady and ancient. The ocean holds these murmurs, the way a dream holds light softly, without weight. It's okay to drift. It glides across frozen lakes where pressure shifts create thin cracks in the ice. The cracks release long, ethereal tones, sounds that ripple under the surface like soft beams of blue light. These tones travel outward in circular waves, bending and drifting until they fade. Some describe the sound as a low cosmic chord. Others say it feels like the lake speaking to the night. You can rest now, slow and low. It flickers in canyons, where the wind moves with such slow precision that it forms faint, standing waves. These waves create small pockets of sound, soft pulses, repeating every few seconds. The pulses drift between canyon walls, gently tapping the air before fading. Scientists record these pulses, knowing the cause is partly understood, partly veiled in subtle variations of air and stone. The canyon breathes in its own rhythm, one the earth has kept for millions of years. The night softens around you. It shimmers in thin layers of ice that form around mountain springs. When moonlight hits the ice, it refracts into dozens of soft beams that dance across the water's surface. The dance is slow, almost imperceptible. The beams move only as quickly as the moon drifts less than a finger's width every minute. Observers describe the sight as time slowing into light. It's okay to drift. It echoes in dense fog, where distant sounds stretch and bend. A single movement, an owl shifting, a branch settling, can travel farther at night, softened into a lingering hum. Fog wraps sound the way cloth wraps warmth, turning every echo into a gentle presence. Travelers through fog-bound valleys have written about hearing their footsteps return to them as faint, hollowed tones, as if the air is humming back. You can rest now, warm and slow. It vibrates in soft fields where wind moves through tall grasses in long sweeping waves. The motion creates faint brushing sounds, soft, continuous, as if someone is running their hand gently along the surface of the world. The sound repeats across miles, rising and falling like a slow tide. Grasslands breathe in wide rhythms, and the earth breathes with them. It glows in rare atmospheric events where ice crystals scatter moonlight horizontally, creating faint light decks across the sky. These decks resemble soft, luminous lines, extending from the moon, drifting slowly as ice moves. They last only minutes, but feel like gentle boundaries drawn around the night. The universe breathes through these lines, quiet and low. Your breath begins to mirror these rhythms, expanding into long, unbroken flows. Thought loosens further. Awareness softens, like warm sand slipping through fingers. The unknown becomes a cradle of sound and slow motion. It's okay to drift. It murmurs in deep forests where certain insects create quiet pulses at night, vibrations so faint they travel only a foot or two. When millions of wings beat in slow synchrony, these pulses blend into a low, shimmering hum. The hum feels alive, layered, ancient. It rises in warm waves and falls in long sighs. Entire valleys breathe with these tiny creatures. You can rest now, soft and slow. It stirs in the quiet of desert nights, where distant dunes shift with temperature changes. As sand cools rapidly, the grains contract and rub against each other, producing faint, rustling sounds, soft, granular, like breaths drawn through silk. These rustles travel across miles of open land, forming a gentle static that lingers until dawn. No threat, no urgency, just the desert adjusting to night. It flickers through the sky, where cosmic rays meet the upper atmosphere. These rays produce tiny flashes of ultraviolet light, too faint for humans to see, but captured by instruments as momentary sparks. Billions of sparks occur each second, silent, unnoticed, a soft shimmering of invisible motion. The universe whispers through these flashes quietly and endlessly. It hums in alpine valleys, where glacial winds create long, resonant tones at dusk. As warm air meets cold pressure shifts, produce slow, rising harmonics. The sound resembles someone running a finger around the rim of a giant glass bowl, deep, round, continuous. The tone can last minutes before slipping away. The night softens around you. It breathes in the slow movement of kelp forests under gentle tides. The long fronds sway in unison, brushing against each other with soft creaks. Fish weave through the kelp, producing faint clicks and low thumps. The entire underwater forest becomes an orchestra of subtle sound, steady, slow, rhythmic. You can rest now, slow and warm. It moves through the soil of far northern regions, where seasonal frost creates tiny crystalline structures that expand and contract with temperature. These expansions produce faint, shifting sounds, tiny pops, soft scratches. The ground itself whispers as ice rearranges in long, slow sequences. The earth hums through these frozen notes. It flickers in the faint glow of noctilucent clouds, silver-blue clouds, forming at the highest reaches of the atmosphere. These clouds catch sunlight long after the ground is dark, glowing softly, like painted strokes across the night. Their patterns change slowly, as if sculpted by the thin, cold air. Observers describe them as the sky dreaming. It's okay to drift. Your breath sinks deeper, almost floating now. Your body feels lighter, as if the bed below is soft water. Your thoughts drift like distant particles of light. The unknown feels like a warm echo, a quiet companion. It glides in rivers where layers of water travel at different speeds. When the layers interact, they create soft, low-frequency oscillations, gentle pressure waves that ripple along the riverbed. Fish sense these oscillations with ease. Humans feel them only as a slight heaviness in the chest when standing near slow-moving water at night. You can rest now soft and low. It hums in caverns where mineral-rich air meets dry surfaces. The meeting of air and mineral creates tiny ionized particles that drift upward, creating faint, crackling sounds. The crackles occur in clusters, soft and irregular, like distant embers glowing. Explorers have described the experience as being surrounded by subtle whispers shaped from stone. It glimmers in the moonbows that appear over waterfalls, rainbows visible only at night, created when moonlight hits mist at a precise angle. The colors are faint, pale, nearly gray, but they shimmer in curves across the air, drifting slightly as the mist shifts. Moonbows appear rarely lasting, only a few minutes. Their motion feels slow, like a breath stretched into light. The night softens around you. It forms in the expanding rings that spread across still water when a single drop falls. Under certain temperatures, these rings can last longer than usual, stretching wider, traveling farther before dissolving. They move outward in perfect circles, gradually fading into the darkness. Observers describe the sight as time flattening into ripples. It's okay to drift. It resonates beneath old lava fields, where pockets of air, trapped for centuries, shift with temperature changes. The shifting creates low booms, soft rounded sounds, like the world exhaling from deep within. These booms occur only occasionally, but feel ancient, patient, warm. Your breath follows the rhythm, long, slow waves moving through quiet air. Your thoughts drift farther from the surface. Your awareness dims like a lantern, losing brightness. You can rest now warm and slow. It flickers in the slow, phosphorescent glow of certain sea creatures which emit blue-green light when gently disturbed. A single movement triggers a scattering of light across the surface, soft pulses rolling outward in rings. The glow lasts only an instant, then fades into the deep. The ocean holds these pulses like quiet dreams. It slides through valleys where shadows stretch at night, moving in long, slow arcs. These arcs shift as the moon climbs through the sky, drifting with celestial patience. The movement is too slow for the eye to track, but the valley changes shape in light, so gradually that it feels like breathing. It's okay to drift. Everything is slow, everything is soft, everything is warm. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. And as your breath sinks into another long, low wave, you breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It moves now in a softness that feels almost weightless, as if the night has thinned into a quiet mist drifting through your thoughts. Each breath settles a little deeper, stretching into long curves that dissolve on the edges. Awareness fades into a warm blur. The world feels farther away than before, and the unknown moves gently beside you like a slow, familiar presence. Nothing sharp remains, nothing fast. Only the patient drift of a universe settling into its own quiet rhythm. It hums beneath ancient deserts, where layers of sand shift with the cooling air. The grains rub so delicately against each other that they create faint, continuous whispers, soft textures of sound that travel along the dunes like a low sigh. These whispers have been heard for centuries, described as the earth murmuring in sleep. Instruments pick them up as small waves of vibration, steady, even unhurried. It's okay to drift. It glimmers in rare crystals hidden beneath mountain ridges. When slight pressure from shifting rock moves across their surfaces, the crystals release tiny flashes of light, triboluminescent sparks, too soft for most eyes. They last less than a heartbeat, but millions may appear over years, shining quietly in darkness no one sees. The earth glows gently beneath its surface, patient with time. You can rest now, slow and low. It echoes inside hollow cliff faces where wind enters through small, irregular openings. The sound is low and distant, like a quiet breath moving through stone. The pitch changes slowly as the night cools, dropping into deeper tones, then rising again with warmth. These echoes linger long after the wind softens, repeating against the cliff walls until they finally fade. Travelers once described them as voices of ancient mountains, soft, calm, almost dreaming. The night softens around you. It flickers in polar skies where faint arcs of pale light, subtle cousins of auroras, appear and vanish within seconds. They glow with muted greens and blues, drifting horizontally like thin veils of breath. These arcs have been seen for generations, noted in journals but not fully understood. They shimmer for moments, then dissolve into the stillness of cold air. It's okay to drift. It moves in deep marshlands where water and plant life shift together as the temperature drops. The movement creates a low, resonant hum that travels beneath the surface. The hum can last for minutes, vibrating softly through roots and reeds. Some describe the sensation as the land settling. Scientists record the sound as a gentle pressure wave, slow and quiet. You can rest now, warm and slow. It glides across the horizon when thin clouds catch moonlight and reflect it into faint horizontal beams. These beams stretch for miles, glowing with soft silver light. They drift as slowly as the moon moves, changing shape only by inches each minute. Observers say it looks like the sky is laying down thin sheets of light, one after another. The universe breathes through these beams, slow and low. Your breath settles into that same rhythm. Long inhales, longer exhales, dissolving any tension left in the day. Thought floats. Awareness loosens. The unknown feels increasingly soft, like a blanket of warm shadow wrapped around your mind. It's okay to drift. It murmurs beneath coral reefs, where tiny organisms release faint snaps, small bursts that repeat in slow patterns. Each snap is soft, barely audible, but together they form a gentle field of sound like warm rain tapping on distant stone. The reef breathes through these tiny pulses, ancient and unbroken. You can rest now, soft and low. It forms in rare weather events where air cools in thin vertical columns. These columns move slowly through forests, brushing against leaves with a delicate rustling sound. The sound is subtle, repeating every few seconds as the column drifts. Scientists call it cold air drainage. Those who hear it say it feels like walking alongside a quiet ghost of the night. Gentle, harmless, almost soothing. It flickers in deep space where distant stars send pulses of light through vast distances. Some pulses repeat every few seconds. Others take years. Most travel millions of light years before reaching us. The patterns are steady but not perfectly understood. The universe hums in these distant rhythms, slow as time itself. You can rest now, warm and slow. It resonates in the trunks of old trees when low winds vibrate their hollows. These vibrations produce tones that resemble long, soft notes, natural flutes shaped by growth and age. The notes drift across quiet hillsides, moving in slow currents. Travelers once believed these tones were the forest dreaming. The night softens around you. It glows beneath certain beaches where sand, mixed with crushed shells, reflects tiny rainbow-colored fragments under moonlight. These fragments catch and release light in slow pulses, shimmering gently as waves shift. The effect resembles tiny stars sprinkled across the shore. It's okay to drift. It hums in volcanic fields, where warm gases shift beneath thin layers of rock. As the gases move, they create soft tremors, small waves felt only as subtle warmth along the air. The tremors happen slowly, spreading across the land before fading. These gentle pulses have been recorded for decades, consistent but quiet, natural, and patient. The world dissolves a little more. Your breath becomes softer than sound. Your body feels light, as if gravity has loosened its hold. Your thoughts float like dust, drifting through sunbeams. And in that weightlessness, the unknown feels like a cradle. You can rest now. Slow, low, warm. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It moves even softer now, as if the night has begun to dissolve into a slow, luminous haze. The space between thoughts widens into a gentle, dim glow. Sensation spreads out, lighter, quieter, drifting like thin currents of warm air. The unknown hums in slow layers around you, not as something to decipher, but as a presence made of calm. There is nothing left to grasp, nothing left to follow, only this slow, unfolding quiet. It murmurs beneath old riverbeds, where ancient sediments still shift in tiny increments. When groundwater moves through these layers, it produces long, low-pressure waves, soft pulses that drift through the earth in slow motion. These pulses are steady, harmless, shaped by the whisper of water adjusting to time. Instruments translate them as warm waves of vibration that roll gently beneath landscapes. It's okay to drift. It flickers in mist-covered valleys where cold air meets warm soil. The meeting creates thin ribbons of fog that slide across the ground in soft, floating movements. The fog curls and uncurls, rising only inches before settling again like the night breathing in long intervals. For centuries, travelers have mistaken this drifting fog for distant shapes. Scientists explain its formation, but not its gentle, mesmerizing cadence. You can rest now, slow and low. It glows beneath the ocean surface, where plankton release faint green light in response to subtle currents. The glow spreads slowly, drifting outward in rings that move at a pace barely perceptible. A wave of light rolling through the dark. Marine biologists record these glow cycles, noting patterns that feel like the sea dreaming. The night softens around you. It hums in the deep earth, where minerals expand under low heat. When they contract again at night, they release small vibrations, tiny tremors that ripple through the ground like whispers. These tremors occur every evening, in some regions, repeating with geological calm. The earth breathes through these movements, slow and steady. It's okay to drift. It echoes in high deserts, where distant storms create infrasonic wave sounds too low for human ears. These waves travel across hundreds of miles and lose almost all their energy by the time they reach the edge of the desert. What remains is a faint hum, a soft presence, sensed only as a gentle weight in the chest. You can rest now, warm and slow. It glides through quiet forests where falling snow gathers on branches. When enough snow accumulates, it slides off in slow sheets, creating soft thumps that echo through the trees. The thumps are muffled, low, rhythmic nature, exhaling after holding its breath. These small white movements shape the soundscape of winter nights, gentle and steady. It flickers across frozen ponds, where small pockets of methane trapped under ice release with faint pops. The pops travel through the ice like tiny chimes. When the wind is calm, the pops repeat at long intervals, forming soft, scattered rhythms. The pond sings lightly through the cold, a quiet music shaped by time. Your breath follows the same softness. Slow rises, slow falls, dissolving like mist. It's okay to drift. It shimmers in clouds that contain tiny ice plates. When these plates align horizontally, moonlight reflects off them in a phenomenon known as a light pillar. The pillar stretches upward like a thin column of silver glow. It hovers for seconds or minutes, drifting gently as ice moves. Observers describe the effect as the moon reaching down with soft fingers of light. You can rest now, soft and low. It hums in the ocean, where underwater volcanoes warm surrounding water. When that warmth meets cooler currents, slow-motion vortices form, spinning gently for hours before dissolving. These vortices produce faint rhythmic thumps, too soft for humans, but detectable to many marine animals. The sea turns temperature into tone. It moves through certain forests, where tree trunks resonate when wind flows steadily at night. Each tree produces a slightly different note. The forest becomes an orchestra of low hums, subtle and continuous. The sound is ancient patient, a long subterranean chord. It glows in rare stones that contain trapped minerals. When struck gently by temperature, shifts the minerals fluoresce, faintly emitting light only visible under dark conditions. This glow lasts seconds, like the stone releasing a memory of the day. The night softens around you. It rises in meadows where fireflies gather by the thousands. When they synchronize their light pulses, the entire field flashes in slow waves. One wave every few seconds. Warm gold drifting across the grass. Researchers study this synchrony, but the precise mechanism remains a gentle mystery. The world glows in quiet patterns. It's okay to drift. Your awareness floats, now light, as dust suspended in still air. Your breath deepens into a slow, rounded rhythm. Your body feels warm, wide, safe. The unknown is a cradle again. It stirs in the atmosphere, where thin layers of warm air rise through colder ones, producing small optical distortions known as superior mirages. Objects appear slightly lifted, softened, stretched. Lights shift upward across the horizon. These distortions change slowly, barely noticeable, unless watched for minutes. The sky moves in delicate illusions. It flickers in the deep night when meteors too small to see burn in the upper atmosphere. They produce tiny pulses of ionization, faint signals recorded by radar as soft, brief hints of motion. Billions pass every day, quiet and unseen, drifting through Earth's sky like invisible waves of dust. It echoes through deep caves where water droplets fall into small pools. The drop produces a tone, and the cave amplifies it, turning one sound into many. A single drop becomes a small chorus, fading gradually through distant chambers. You can rest now, warm and low. It hums in the mountains, where temperature gradients create faint airflow tunnels. The air moves without wind, drifting slowly through narrow passages in rock. The sound resembles distant, humming, rounded, soft, continuous. It glows in the Arctic when layers of ice trap air bubbles in thin sheets. When the light hits at the correct angle, the bubbles scatter it into shimmering halos across the snow. The halo appears and disappears as the viewer shifts, a delicate performance of cold and light. Your breath floats close to stillness. Thoughts loosen further. Awareness becomes a warm haze. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It moves now with a softness so complete that it feels less like motion and more like a warm current drifting through the space behind your eyes. Thoughts begin to thin into long shadows. Sensation settles like quiet dust falling slowly through a beam of pale light. The world feels distant in the gentlest way. The unknown no longer feels mysterious. It feels familiar, slow part of the same quiet that's gathering inside you. It hums through the upper layers of the atmosphere, where faint, slow-moving waves of pressure travel across the sky. These waves stretch for hundreds of miles, moving only a few inches each second. They are invisible, quiet, patient. Instruments detect them as soft rolling pulses. The sky breathes through these waves calm and unhurried. It's okay to drift. It glows along coastlines where certain plankton bloom during dark nights. When the tide moves, the water lights with a soft blue shimmer light that bends and slides with each gentle wave. The glow lasts only seconds before fading back into stillness. The ocean has been glowing like this for millions of years, repeating the same quiet cycle. You can rest now, low and slow. It echoes in old canyons where narrow passages create long reverberations. A single sound, distant, soft, can travel for seconds, bouncing gently between layers of stone. The reverberations lose energy, slowly dissolving into warm silence. Those who walk through such canyons at dusk describe feeling held by the sound, enveloped in a natural hush shaped by time. The night softens around you. It flickers in ancient forests where humidity and temperature create slow droplets of water forming on leaves. When the droplets fall, they tap the ground in tiny pulses. One here, one there. A slow, irregular heartbeat of the forest. These droplets fall for hours, shaping a soft, scattered rhythm that calms the entire landscape. It's okay to drift. It moves beneath the Earth's crust, where slow geological waves, seismic hums, travel continuously. These waves are not quakes. They are steady, gentle vibrations created by the movement of ocean pressure against the planet's surface. The hum repeats every few seconds, endlessly quietly across continents. You can rest now, warm and low. It glides through deep water where thermal gradients create long strands of rising warmth. When these strands brush against colder currents, they form swirling patterns that move with incredible slowness. The swirls drift for hours, sometimes longer, forming shapes that dissolve as quickly as they appear. The ocean remembers these motions, like soft, unfolding dreams. It flickers in certain minerals when struck gently by temperature changes. Small sparks form inside the crystal, tiny bursts of blue or green light. They last less than an instant, brief as a blink between stars. Observers describe it as momentary starlight trapped in stone. The universe breathes through these tiny flashes. Your breath drifts deeper into the quiet. Your body loosens into warm heaviness. Your thoughts float in wide, gentle arcs. The unknown feels like a silent sea beneath you. It's okay to drift. It resonates along cliffs where wind slides through small fissures. The sound created is low, almost hollow, like a soft hum stretched across stone. Different fissures create different notes, blending into a natural chord that shifts slowly as temperatures change. This music occurs only at night, when the air cools enough to shape it. It glows in thin layers of night clouds where particles of ice catch moonlight. The clouds shimmer with faint iridescence, subtle blues, greens, violets. The colors drift across the sky at a pace too slow to follow. These noctilucent shades appear only in rare cold conditions. They hang above the world like soft memories suspended in air. You can rest now, soft and slow. It sighs through coastal caves where the tide moves in and out with long breaths. As the water enters narrow chambers, It compresses the air, pushing it outward in a sighing sound that lasts many seconds. When the water retreats, the cave inhales again, pulling air softly through stone. The entire shoreline breathes with the sea, slow and ancient. It shimmers across frozen lakes where crystals form at night. When the moonlight hits their surface, they scatter light into thousands of tiny points, glowing like distant stars. As temperatures shift, the patterns change, new crystals forming, others melting. The lake becomes a field of soft, drifting light. It hums through grasslands where temperature differences at dusk create slow ripples of warm air. These ripples move across the plains, brushing lightly through tall grasses. The grasses respond with faint, shimmering rustles that stretch across miles. The land hums gently, endless and patient. Your breath settles into that same rhythm, slow, low drifting. Your awareness sinks like a pebble into warm water. Your thoughts soften into thin, dissolving lines. It's okay to drift. It whispers in the deep woods when the wind moves through layers of leaves. Each layer creates its own tone. One deep, one soft one, barely audible. Together, they form a quiet harmony that rises and falls with the breathing of the forest. Travelers once believed the trees were speaking in sleep. It creeps through the sky, where thin cirrus clouds form slow bending waves. These waves cast faint shadows on the air itself, soft bands of dim shifting gray. The shadows drift sideways at the speed of high-altitude winds, invisible to many but present as gentle ripples moving across the canopy of night. It glows through rare atmospheric ice when the moon is low. This creates moon halos, wide circles of light stretching across the sky. The halos drift slightly as the crystals move. Observers describe the feeling as standing inside a whisper of silver air. You can rest, now warm and low. It flows in the shallow ocean, where small tides meet sandbanks. The meeting creates low, thumping sounds, soft pulses repeating every few seconds. These pulses travel along the shoreline like a heartbeat of the water. The sound is comforting, rhythmic, ancient. It vibrates in deep caves where water drips far below. Each drip forms a delicate tone as it falls into pools shaped by centuries. The tones echo lightly, layering into soft, overlapping melodies. No urgency, no sharpness, only long, patient sound. The world becomes softer. Your breath becomes slower. Your awareness becomes faint as shadow. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. I'll drift now in a space that feels softer than anything before, a place where the night has folded itself around you like a warm, slow-moving tide. Your breath is barely more than a gentle wave, rising only slightly, settling even lower. Your thoughts float like faint lights behind a curtain, dim, distant, drifting farther away with every quiet moment. And the world, with all its motion and mystery, feels so far outside that it becomes nothing more than a soft glow on the horizon of your mind. You don't need to follow anything anymore. You don't need to remember anything. Everything can simply fall away. The unknown hums beside you, not as a question, but as a warm presence, a slow exhale of the universe settling into itself. You feel its calm along your skin like a thin layer of cool air, gliding gently over deeper warmth. Every breath echoes that rhythm. It's okay to drift. Somewhere far below, and far away. The earth releases long, slow vibrations, pressures shifting in deep layers of stone. These movements have always been gentle. They hum across continents without urgency, carrying the faintest whisper of time. You sense them now, not as sound, but as a soft weight beneath your ribs, something steady, something old, something warm. You can rest, now low and warm. Your awareness rises and falls, like a body floating in warm water. The unknown feels like that water carrying you without effort. You don't have to hold yourself. You don't have to guide anything. You can let the night do all the holding. Somewhere light from a distant star is still traveling, moving through the dark for millions of years. Slow, patient, unbroken. You sense that movement as a softness behind your closed eyes, a small warmth drifting way out on the edges of space. The night softens around you. Your body grows heavier now, but the heaviness is peaceful, like sinking into a deeper layer of warmth. Your limbs loosen. Your breath becomes shallow and slow. And inside that stillness, the world feels wider than before, so wide that everything inside you relaxes, expands, floats. It's okay to drift. Soft vibrations ripple through quiet forests where branches cool under night air. You don't hear them, but your mind recognizes the pattern, the slow contracting of wood, the gentle shifting of leaves, a world settling into rest. These movements echo inside you as small waves of calm. Your chest rises again, slowly, then falls even slower. Your body knows the way into sleep. You only follow. Moonlight somewhere crosses through thin clouds, scattering into faint halos. You feel that scattering as a coolness across your cheek, a drifting sensation that moves in barely there pulses, as if the sky itself is brushing its fingers gently across your face. You can rest now. Soft, low, warm. Your mind grows quiet. Thoughts dissolve. The world becomes only breath and warmth and drifting. Somewhere beneath the ocean, long currents move with the patience of centuries, slow, steady lines of motion shaping the deep. Their rhythm enters you now, the way water seeps into sand. A long pull, a long release, so gentle you almost don't feel it. But it's there, carrying you deeper. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. Night wraps around your shoulders. Warmth gathers behind your ribs. Your breath slows into a whisper. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. You drift deeper now into a space where even your thoughts feel lighter than breath. The night around you has become a gentle field of warmth, stretching without edges. The world outside fades into something soft and distant, like a lantern seen from far across calm water. Everything slows. Everything lowers. Everything softens. Your breath rises one more time, a small, warm lift in the darkness. Then it settles long and low, like a tide smoothing itself over sand. Nothing asks anything of you now. Nothing needs movement. Nothing needs understanding. You can rest here. The unknown surrounds you like a gentle current, holding you without pressure. You drift inside it the way a leaf drifts on still water, turning slightly in currents too soft to feel. Your body loosens into this drift, sinking deeper into warmth. The bed beneath you feels less like a surface and more like a quiet sea rising to cradle you. It's okay to drift. Somewhere far away, deep under layers of ancient stone, faint vibrations still move soft pulses, traveling through the earth at the speed of time. They are quiet, harmless, steady, the heartbeat of a planet resting under stars. You feel a faint echo of that pulse inside your chest. Slow, round, even. You can rest now, warm and low. Your awareness melts outward, thinning like warm mist. Edges dissolve, shapes blur. Your body becomes a soft outline, drifting inward, deeper into comfort. Even gravity feels gentle, now guiding you down with the lightest touch. Your breath comes again quiet, shallow, like a whisper passing through curtains. Then another, and another, each one softer than the last. Far above the sky continues its slow, ancient breathing. Light still travels across millions of miles of darkness, patient and unbroken. You feel that slow movement, like a distant glow, settling behind your mind. It doesn't need to be understood. It only needs to be felt as warmth. The night softens around you. Your body feels suspended now, floating just above the surface of sleep. A slow descent, gentle, effortless. Your limbs are heavy and warm. Your thoughts drift like soft particles falling through a quiet beam of light. It's okay to drift. Somewhere deep in the ocean, long waves continue to move through the dark water at a pace older than history. They rise, they fall, they repeat, with a rhythm so slow it becomes a lullaby for the entire sea. You sense this rhythm inside your breath, guiding it lower and lower. Your breath is almost still now. A small lift, a long release, then stillness again. You feel the world falling away, like a soft curtain closing. You feel your mind folding into itself, like a slow, warm wave. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. And now, the night holds you completely. Warm, weightless, unhurried. Light still travels. The universe breathes through you. You are home. You can rest now. If you're still awake, the next wonder waits in the light ahead.